Hello everybody, pause the video and grab a drink. It's me, Alcatraz Gamer, here with another movie review for you all today. Just a couple days ago, I watched Spider-Man Homecoming, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on it in just a minute here. I'm also not just gonna talk about this, I'm also gonna go over what I thought about it compared to the other Spider-Man movies, because I have seen them all. What did I think about this movie? I thought it was pretty good. Now I'm going to talk about what I did like and what I didn't like. And then also talk about comparisons with the second one. I'll eventually go over a couple spoilers in this movie. I'll put a thing up here at the top as a spoiler warning for when that happens. That'll be towards the end. I'll wait to save that. Throughout the years, we've had many renditions of Spider-Mans. Good ones, bad ones, not so great ones. We've had all over the place. But you haven't yet had a Spider-Man movie where everyone is unanimously agreeing that it's amazing, incredible, phenomenal, and all that. Like, it is the definitive Spider-Man thing. For several reasons, like the person who acts Spider-Man, what happens in the movie, how correct is it to the comic book, how good are the villains, how good is the love interest? Well, let's go over some of these things. Let's go about Peter Parker and Spider-Man, or slash Spider-Man. Tom Holland does a good job at Spider-Man. He does a really good job at Spider-Man. I like him a little more than Andrew Garfield and a little less than Tobey Maguire just because nostalgic reasons. He's really good, though. And he's good as Spider-Man, too. The one thing I don't like about this this Spider-Man, is he's a bit of a klutz in the movie. Just a small thing, but like in the first Spider-Man movie, the first Sam Raimi one, there's a scene where he's first trying out his webs, and he swings and he hits his face and falls over. Right? Okay, that's funny. This Spider-Man falls on his face trying to swing with a web at least 5 times throughout the entire movie, excluding the climax. I mean, I get it, it's kind of funny, but at that point I was like, okay. And then his action was really good. I like the action. He has all the quips, he has good action, he has good nerdy, and he has good quips. So that is the best thing about him, which is a really good thing to have when you are playing Spider-Man. You gotta be nerdy, you gotta be quippy, and yeah. So, moving on, we're gonna talk about the love interest. What love interest? It wasn't that good. There were 2 girls in this movie. One was not a love interest. But the love interest girl, I don't remember her name, insert that there, or who acted her, insert that here. She is not good. Not that she didn't act good, or she didn't play whatever character she was supposed to be in the comics that good. She just wasn't a good character. She wasn't Mary Jane's like, oh, help me. She wasn't that. She was the, you gotta be there for me, Peter. Next scene, you gotta be there for me, Peter. Next scene, you gotta be... You get the point. She really was just there. And that was it. The other girl in the movie I liked. I don't remember her name or who acted her either. I'll insert them there when I figure that out. She was funny. Every line was hilarious and amazing. Speaking of more supporting characters, we had, Peter has a friend in this other than Harry Osborn. In fact, Oscorp's not mentioned at all in this movie. We have a friend of his named Ned, I think it is. And I'll put who acts him right here because I don't know these things. He is my favorite supporting character in any Spider-Man movie ever! He's funny, he's relatable, he's just a likable character all around. More characters we have is Tony Stark, who is in this a few scenes, and that's it, which I was very happy about. And all of you out there saying this is just Iron Man 4, it is not Iron Man 4 at all. And then we have Aunt May, who is she's technically, if it's speaking of aunts, she looks like an aunt, but for Aunt May, and she's not in the movie much either, so, hey, whatever, right? And she has one funny scene that I won't spoil. And then the last, well, there's two villains in this movie, really, but I'll only say one. I'll talk about Vulture. Vulture is one of the best Spider-Man villains we've had in a Spider-Man movie, next to Alfred Molina's Doc Ock. And right at the start of this movie, like, you get where this guy is, like, why this guy is doing what he's doing, and why he turns to crime, and why he hates superheroes and stuff like that. You get that all right at the beginning, so that's really good. You have good motivation. He's not going through mental duality like every other Spider-Man villain ever in the movies. And he's a cool-looking villain. He's very different from the classic comic book Vulture, but he's better, if you ask me. So that's basically all the characters. The story, I thought, was pretty good. It's a very well-told story. When there's Spider-Man parts, the Spider-Man parts are good. When there's Peter Parker High School stuff, the Peter Parker High School stuff is good. So, at least when it shifts between them all the time, they're both good, so like they're at their own pace together. It's like they have this pace, and they just kind of it just kind of intertwines together. With all this being said, I'm also going to talk about the old movies. Because, like, you have the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, which is it's good. It's good. Is it as good as this? I wouldn't say so quite. Maybe like, either tied or, like, maybe slightly less than Spider-Man Homecoming. But it's good. You know, you have Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, probably my favorite Green Goblin. And the thing about the Sam Raimi movies in general that no other live-action movie will be able to do ever again is J. Jonah Jameson, because J.K. Simmons destroys it as J. Jonah Jameson. He is the best J. Jonah Jameson ever. And also the Sam Raimi movies have my favorite Aunt May ever. Insert name here, I don't remember.
Sorry to interrupt here, I just forgot to mention the love interest of the movie, which is Mary Jane, which is bad, okay?
Spider-Man 2 has Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, one of the best Spider-Man villains, up here with Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming. And not only do we have all this, we have the train scene. The train scene is my favorite Spider-Man scene ever. Ever. That's one thing that I would knock off of Spider-Man Homecoming, is it doesn't have an amazing battle. It has good battles, especially with Vulture and Spider-Man, but not an amazing battle like the train scene. There's no train scene in here. And then we had 3. We're gonna skip over 3. Yeah, just gonna move on now. The Amazing Spider-Man. I really like this movie. It did a different take on Spider-Man. It did it good. Andrew Garfield was good. They could have done more with the Lizard, but he was decent for what he was. And Gwen Stacy is a good love interest. She's the only good love interest in these movies. Ever. Now we have Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's alright. All you have to do, in my opinion, you do have to knock the film for Green Goblin, as he sucks in that movie. And he's barely in it. But other than that, all you have to do is see the Rhino as the Underminer. The Rhino is the Underminer in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. With that being said, I think I would put Spider-Man 2 and The Amazing Spider-Man, like, tied at my 2 favorite Spider-Man movies ever. And then I would put the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man and this tied at second. For me, personally. Others, it might be the best Spider-Man movie ever. Now, Now that I've gone through all this, I'm now going to talk about a couple spoilers. And by a couple, I mean one that's only kind of a spoiler. Which is probably the one thing I like the least about this movie. So, this is an origin story of Spider-Man without the Uncle Ben. Okay, that's fine, that's good. It's him becoming a better hero. But here's the problem. He doesn't become the better hero until the last half of the final battle. Throughout the rest of the movie, he's either being a klutz, messing something up, or just being a little bit amateur. And there's one scene towards the very end in the climax that was my least favorite scene, least part ever, where Spider-Man is trapped under rubble. He is trapped. But like, if you've watched like Spider-Man Home, or not Spider-Man Home, it's the Spectacular Spider-Man, or any of those other Spider-Mans, even when he's new at it, if he's stuck under rubble, eventually he gets out. Maybe like the bad guys get away or something, right? Something like that. In this, he's trapped under the rubble, and he's like panicking. Like panicking. Like he's crying and screaming, he's gonna die, he needs help, he can't do anything. And for me personally, I don't want to see Spider-Man do that. I don't want to see Spider-Man go through that to become a better hero. It may be acted well, maybe a bit too well, if you ask me. And it may be a good motivation, like a good, like, kicker from a speech from earlier from Tony Stark. But I don't want to see Spider-Man do that. In Spider-Man 2, this is another comparison to that. I liked how they had him becoming a better hero better through that. Because if I want to watch Spider-Man become a better hero, am I going to want to watch him screaming and crying under rubble? Or am I going to want to watch the elevator scene from Spider-Man 2? I'm going to want to watch the elevator scene from Spider-Man 2. As long as, well, there's more of that, but the elevator scene's funny. I like the elevator scene. So, with all that being said, that is my take on Spider-Man Homecoming. I think I'd have to give this one... Oh, it's tough. I'd say maybe an... It is a very good movie, because I don't want to deny that it is a good movie. So maybe I'll give it... I think I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10, because I'd put like Spider-Man 2 and The Amazing Spider-Man at a 9. So I'll put this at an 8.5 out of 10. This is a really good movie. I do recommend you see it, especially if you're a Spider-Man fan. It just has a few things that I would, if I were to watch a Spider-Man movie, I'd rather pick Spider-Man 2 than watch this. But other than that, it's good. So, I hope you all enjoyed. Don't forget to hit the like button. If you have any comments, leave them down below. If you subscribe if you wanna, and I'll see you all later. Bye.
It's free real estate.